riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that we has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to a very special bonus track edition of the Why I Hate This Album podcast. This is the final installment of our 2018 Halloween Spooktacular.
It's a scare-a-thon.
It's Shut Your Face. I am one of your hosts, Tim Richardson, and with me, as always, is co-host extraordinaire, the Da Vinci Code to my angels and demons, Garrett Harvey.
This is why you don't intro any of these.
Garrett, how you doing?
I'm not great, Tim, and I was great when we started, and then you began speaking, and I'm pretty angry. Aside from how you make me feel, I'm doing great.
I have the exact opposite situation going on here. Why don't you tell the folks at home what we're doing?
For our very special Scare-a-thon bonus episode, we decided to take yet another recommendation from the internets, the 1962 novelty song performed by Mr. Bobby Boris Pickett, the original, the one, the only, Monster Mash.
That's right. It's a pretty great song. I think we can agree on that up front.
I absolutely love it, Tim. I can't help but feel like you suggested that we take this gentleman's suggestion online to do this song purely to torture me. Is that correct?
It is. You've mentioned at least 3 times on this show when Monster Mash has come up, not in relation to Halloween, that you hate this song and that anytime anyone says it, it gets stuck in your head for exactly 8 days.
Yes, that is all accurate.
What changed?
I gained an appreciation for the MASH, dude.
So how much of that has to do with you watching the video?
We'll get into it, but first we have to ask the titular question. Do you hate this song?
No. I like it less now that I realized that you weren't just hating this week. That's a little disappointing. Do you hate this?
No, not in the least. And I'll tell you my secret. You alluded to it a moment ago. The reason that I never once hated it, never once, Tim. Even though I didn't need to, I know the song by heart. I watched a 1962 performance on some sort of bizarre talk show. Mr. Pickett performs this song in full, and it is mesmerizing. Do you know anything about this gentleman?
I know a lot about this gentleman.
Well, that's alarming.
I did the research.
Before we talk about the song itself, the song that made the man, let's find out about the man that made the song.
Bobby Boris Pickett was born in 1938 to a theater manager. So as a child, he got to see lots of movies, just like Why I Hate This Album's own GPH. And like Robert Zombie, he had a very particular affinity for horror movies. He had a fairly unremarkable childhood
aside from surviving the 40s.
Well, that's true. By 1959, he was doing a nightclub comedy act. It was mostly impressions, including Boris Karloff and other monster horror movies, Bela Lugosi, etc. He also had a band as a second kind of gig, then they would perform covers. And then he went off to fight Koreans for a little while.
Did he really? Before this song came out, he fought Koreans.
Yes.
You know, we are still in that conflict to this day, Tim.
Right. In 1962, he's back stateside, and he was performing with this cover band, a song called Darlin', when he allegedly spontaneously did a monologue in a Boris Karloff voice. The idea for the song was born, the audience loved it, so he co-wrote the Monster Mash with Leonard Papizzi, who was a member of his band. The original idea for the song was sort of a spoof on dance crazes at the time. In 1962, the U.S. was still taken by dance crazes.
All the rage.
Yeah, the twist, the mashed potato, those were going around. The video of him doing it that you mentioned, he's really getting in character.
The secret to a great impression, Tim, is to embody the person that you are impersonating. Unfortunately for this gentleman, he's very good at impressions, and so he looks like a ridiculous human being. He is mimicking the Universal monsters.
First of all, everyone should go out and watch this immediately. Stop this recording.
Well, finish the episode, and we will post it. Then you can go out to our Twitter stream, Facebook. We will post it everywhere, and then you can go watch exactly what we're talking about. But please keep listening.
We already got their download. It doesn't matter.
Oh, you're right. Do whatever you want. We don't care.
Does he kind of have Tourette's?
Nope.
Or is he making fun of people with Tourette's?
He is not.
There's a little facial yipping, if you will.
Right, but he doesn't realize he's making the faces he's making.
I think that he thinks to get that voice to sound that way, he has to do the face, he has to do everything.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And that's kind of what I was alluding to, is to truly do a great impression, you do the facial expression, you do the mannerisms, and that just helps you to hear it in your head. I don't know why. And it's clear that he has no idea he's making these facial expressions.
That raises an issue for me because you do good impressions, or at least significantly better impressions than I do.
Well, that's less of a compliment.
Yeah, that's fair. That doesn't make a lot of sense given this new theory because I really put the legwork in, Garrett. Every week, I dress up in character. I do a lot of work on my facial expressions. I try to really nail it. And then whenever I say it, it comes out just sounding like me doing a shitty voice.
Yeah, the thing of it is, though, Tim, you lack the base amount of talent to even attempt this. I appreciate it sometimes, but no, you need to stay in your lane.
Bobby Boris Pickett shopped the song around. He got rejected by pretty much every major record label until Gary Paxton got a hold of it. He got Leon Russell on piano. And if you're wondering who Leon Russell is, he is a goddamn piano/blues legend who Elton John once referred to as his mentor and on another occasion as his inspiration.
Yeah, very talented gentleman who died not that long ago.
The song was originally banned in Britain by the BBC because it was too morbid.
What? This is a song played for children in school.
Yes, but by mid-October 1962, it has sold over 1 million copies. It's a #1 single. This would then re-enter the charts in 1970 and again in 1973 when it got to number 10 again in the US. In 1973, it reached #3 in Britain and sold another 1 million copies. He is the only person to have a song break into the Billboard Top 100 singles on 3 separate occasions. Monster
That's
Mash.
amazing. That's so great.
To back up just a little bit, in 1962, he also released Monsters Holiday, a Christmas-themed sequel, and then he released a full album of these monster-themed songs as Bobby Boris Pickett and the Crypt Keepers. Now, we originally considered just doing this album as our October 30th episode, but you listen to Monster Mash, that's fine. It's 16 tracks long, so that's 15 additional monster-related songs sung by this asshole. Garrett tried to strangle me, and he was right to. Some other song titles on that: Blood Bank Blues, Monster Minute, Transylvania Twist, Sinister Stomp, Irresistible Igor. He didn't find much success after this. In 1985, he released Monster Rap.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So this is about a mad scientist frustrated that his Frankenstein monster can't talk. He solves the problem by teaching it to rap instead. So it communicates by rapping.
What you're describing is the fever dream of a lunatic. What does it sound like?
Go listen. It sounds basically like what you're expecting.
Wow.
In 1996, he was doing a People magazine interview, and when asked about this, he said, "Whenever I hear the song, all I can hear is a cash register ringing."
God, he's great.
In 2004 to 2005, he turned the song into a campaign video against George W. Bush. And then, frustrated that the U.S. wasn't doing anything about climate change, he recorded the Climate Mash to possibly warm the icy hearts of politicians or maybe cool their hot hearts. Either way, it did not work.
Yeah, I think it was probably cooling their hearts.
That makes sense. And then, in 2007, he died of leukemia.
Right.
The song, though, has been prominently covered, often by the Beach Boys.
Yes, they can't seem to stop covering it.
Vincent Price recorded a version in 1977, and the Misfits recorded a version in 1997. A couple of Snopple IMDb co-sponsored fun facts. His first live backup band for this was none other than the goddamn Beach Boys.
Wow.
And he was once backed in the 70s by Van Halen.
Oh, I'd watch that.
Yeah, seems fun.
Can we talk a little about what's in this song?
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight, for my monster from his slab began to rise.
What a great song.
Almost unimpeachable.
Almost. There's some inconsistencies that confuse me just a little bit, but really I'm grasping at straws. Mostly this is a bulletproof song. It might be the gold standard for songwriting in modern America.
Not only are this song's lyrics and music perfect, I had a theory earlier this week. And this might be why some of the research on the My Chemical Romance was so shoddy, that every song ever written, the lyrics for them would actually fit better with the Monster Mash music than they do with their original music. Now, the boys at the lab have so far only been able to analyze 3,481 songs.
I mean, that's amazing, because it's just two of them. It's Luis and Patricia, and she has an infant.
Well, I mean, we've got a pretty great computer system now, though.
Oh, okay.
So far, we've got a 100% success rate. And I wish that I could play some of these songs for you or perform some of these songs. Unfortunately, the way we've been analyzing it, to be sure to be scientifically accurate, is all a statistical measuring peaks and everything like that.
So you are inserting the words of My Chemical Romance into these songs?
I don't know if they've gotten to My Chemical Romance.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't think I follow. They're putting every song ever to the Monster Mash?
They're working on it, yes. There are 3,481 songs in.
I wish that this had come across my desk. Occasionally, Tim, you send our team out on foolish errands. I mean, 90% of the staff is currently trapped in... Oh, almost got me. Almost told you where the Dutch are. But no. Now you've got our last two remaining resources running statistical analysis on syllables and peak volume levels.
Every aspect of the songs.
I can appreciate your thoroughness, but I just don't know if this is the proper resource allocation. Let's talk about what happens in here. It's very straightforward. A monster mash breaks out. A series of monsters emerge in this gentleman's home and throw a party.
Well, sort of. It's sung from the perspective of Dr. Frankenstein, or a Dr. Frankenstein character that is not copyrighted. So he's working in his lab, and all of a sudden his monster comes to life and just suddenly begins dancing.
Right. He beholds an eerie sight. Mm-hmm. His monster from his slab begins to rise, and suddenly, to his surprise, he did the mash.
Right. So he's already got other monsters in his castle. He's got vampires in the master bedroom, and he's got ghouls from somewhere else.
Interesting. Yeah, you're 100% right. He's got ghouls. He's got vampires.
They're aroused, if you will, by the sound that this monster is making.
That's a very interesting use of words, Tim, and I think you're right, because the verse goes, from my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. And given what we learned about vampires recently, I don't want to think about anything they're doing in the master bedroom. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes, so the ghouls don't live there, to get a jolt from my electrodes. So they're either doing some sort of ghoul drugs, or we're talking about getting there. And I'm not talking about whether or not they hate something. I'm talking about,
getting there. It's what I'm always talking about. I think they're getting a little high off of it.
I think you're right. I mean, there's Punch, and then if you want to go in back, Frankenstein's getting juiced. Everybody's getting juiced in the back.
Yes.
He has a very creative name for vampires in this. Calls them coffin bangers.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he says the coffin bangers were about to arrive.
He does say that. I completely missed that. He's talking about vampires or... Well, no, you know what? It can't be vampires because the vampires are already there.
Some are there. Well, see, I didn't think that they lived there. I thought to the master bedroom where the vampires feast, they have been arriving to then go feast in the master bedroom.
Okay.
Or even if they do live there, Tim, not all vampires live in the castle east. Some of them are going to arrive, and he calls them coffin bangers. It's a great name. Yeah. It's also, it sounds like a minor pejorative. So if we do ever live in a society where the living dead walk amongst us, I'm totally going to coin the phrase coffin banger.
I don't think so. I think that's going to become a racial epithet, and you will be kicked out of society. They will keep vampires over you if you start calling people coffin bangers. These fucking liberals, Garrett. So Dracula comes, his son comes.
I thought it was weird that Dracula's son was in the mix.
But also it raises the question, did Dracula have sex with another vampire to create a son, or is this a boy he has turned?
I really hope it's the former.
But I don't think that's how vampires work. I don't think they reproduce sexually. I think they have to bite somebody and bring them into the fold.
I mean, that's the age-old question, Tim. Do you become sterile the moment you become a vampire? I wouldn't enjoy listening to it nearly as much without watching Mr. Pickett perform it, but it does get stuck in my head. To watch it is kind of mind-boggling.
It's very bizarre. Part of that might be that it's a very old video, and so the audio might not be exactly synced up.
That's very fair. Okay, let's see what people had to say on Amazon.
This is an MP3 single.
Someone reviewed that.
Yep, 76 people reviewed it. 78% gave it 5 stars, 4% gave it 1 star. Love this song. Set it as my ringtone for the upcoming fall events. That's from 2017. Somebody's reviewing this song.
That's their ringtone.
Yes, from 2015, classic tune, my tourists love it when I crank it in the hearse. It's unclear what that means. Is he referring to corpses as tourists? Does he believe the corpses have feelings on things?
At least opinions, maybe not feeling per se, but he does believe himself to be some sort of boatman on the river Styx.
Love is not an opinion, Garrett. Love is a feeling. Is this why you don't understand love?
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Gonna do a synchronized swim routine to it in October.
Tim, is that secretly you?
No. So this was done in 2014. I searched YouTube. Could not find this. I was really
check the dark web.
No, I'm not allowed on the dark web anymore.
Interesting.
This is great. This is from September 11th, 2016. I've had this song since June. I love it, and I listen to it in my car often. It's not an all-year-round song, right?
It's not. I was half expecting can't wait for their new stuff.
This is the best album out there. The Monster Mash is the best song, and so is Monsters Mash Party, which I do own on Parrot Label. If you want a funny, clean album, this is it. R.I.P. Bobby Pickett.
Pretty sure that's Grammy Vance.
Could be. And then there's one more here. It just says simply, too expensive, 1 out of 5 stars. And keep in mind, this is for the 99-cent digital copy. I don't know how to do this. I'm buying this man this song.
Yeah, you should. He is living he's probably dead.
Yeah, maybe. I'll buy his horrible ghost a copy of this.
Who is this for?
Anyone and everyone. It's fun for the whole family unless you lived in the UK in 1962 to 1973. Then it was a bit much.
Right. Then it was too morbid for the conservative sensibilities of the Thatcher administration.
That's just not right.
I'm pretty sure it's accurate. If you've never heard this, how's that possible? Go listen to it immediately. Ideally, go watch it. Go straight to our Twitter feed. It's right there. Let's ask the question. I think I know the answer. Do you hate this?
Absolutely not. And I'm just sad that you didn't hate it. Assuming I should ask, do you hate this now that we've had glowing praise for it for the past 20 minutes?
Does this answer your question? I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight, for my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the mash. Turned a little bit into the Cowardly Lion at the end. I love it. You love it. America loves it. And anybody who doesn't, I don't even want to see.
Yeah.
You know who doesn't love it? North Koreans.
Well, that's because they haven't heard it yet. But when they do hear it, when that calendar flips over to 1962 in North Korea, they are going to love it.
Boy, what if he was working on this song while he was fighting in the fields of Korea? Imagine dying to the sounds of, I was working in the lab. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, so
kill me now.
This is just shy of your plan to dress all of our soldiers as clowns because nothing's more terrifying than an army of clowns.
Just an army of clowns with a gun.
Well, yeah, we're still going to let them have guns.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't be much of an army without them, but that clown makeup's really going to sell it. This has been Why I Hate This Album. I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I'm the other host, Tim Richardson.
He did the monster mash. He did the mash.
The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that we has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.